Tonight, California's parole board weighs the future of convicted killer Lyle Menendez, decades after the murders of his parents. The board has already denied his brother Eric a chance to walk free for those same crimes.
The parole board usually does not have these types of crimes in front of them because they're not parole eligible.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. Tonight, we are waiting to hear whether Lyle Menendez will be granted parole more than 30 years after the killings of his parents inside the family's Beverly Hills home. He and his brother Eric say they committed those murders after years of abuse. As Fox 11's Laura Diaz reports tonight, the LA County District Attorney insists the brothers are not ready to be freed yet.
And if, in fact, they finally come clean with all their lies, then we would believe that they might be suitable for parole. Even if they come clean today, whether it's sincere, whether it's unequivocal, they've been given 30 years to do it. They've been given months to have these lies identified. And if they start the process today, it might mean they could qualify today. It might be the next parole hearing.
Loyola Law School professor Christopher Hawthorne told us the parole board doesn't just consider the crime, but also the inmate's progress behind bars.
The two big questions are, who were you then and who are you now? And you can't understand who you are now until you understand who you were then.
The Menendez brothers riveted the country in the 90s, but they remain relevant today.
I need to know what's going on with you and the boys.
Many people credit a blockbuster Netflix series for renewing interest and support for the brothers. They also got support from high-profile prison reform advocates like Kim Kardashian.
And that was Fox 11's Laura Diaz reporting tonight. As we await the results of that parole hearing, we talked with TMZ about what potentially could happen next.
It could be that the board, for whatever reason, because of what's happened in prison and his record in prison, that they recommend parole for Lyle. And then you have a very awkward situation where Lyle potentially is going to be approved by the governor to get out while Eric remains in prison.
If Lyle Menendez is also denied parole, it's still possible that Governor Gavin Newsom could grant clemency to the brothers. Yesterday, 18 family members spoke on behalf of Eric Menendez. Those family members were also expected to speak today in support of Lyle Menendez. And you can find extensive coverage on this case up at our website. It's westcoastwrap.com. Our coverage there includes details of what Eric Menendez said during his parole hearing yesterday. Well, tonight, firefighters from all across California are joining the effort to contain a large brush fire that's burning in the Napa Valley north of San Francisco. More than 400 firefighters are on the front lines right now of what's being called the Picket Fire. It's continuing to grow northeast of the town of Calistoga. At last check, it has burned more than 3,200 acres. So far, no homes or businesses have been damaged or destroyed. Investigators are still trying to figure out what caused this fire. It is now 7% contained tonight, and that is thanks in large part to all of the planes and choppers that have been hitting this fire from up above, as crews are using dozers on the ground to build those containment lines.
Those dozers have been twofold. One, they're working on building control lines and contingency lines around the fire that can protect some of the communities that are further off. And they're also helping with access to get some of the resources that we need.
All right, for more on the conditions that those fire crews are facing there in Northern California, let's bring in KTVU meteorologist Roberta Gonzalez, tracking the weather conditions. Obviously, we're talking about a lot of heat, and then the concern also is the winds.
The winds and also the very low relative humidity, because generally when that temperature goes up, humidity goes down and the winds have been increasing, and that is the recipe for fire, and that is what we've had in the Calistoga area. And the winds are currently at 16 miles per hour. The relative humidity, you just saw a change at 22%, but it's still mighty hot at this hour. And one thing we have to take note of, Alex, is that we have this huge plume, and this is one of the live weather cameras, and these smoke particles are getting caught in the upper atmosphere and driven by the wind, and the end result is we have that air quality advisory extended through Saturday for Sonoma, Solano, and Napa counties in the northern portion of the San Francisco Bay Area. All right, it's dry, it's breezy there, and it's hot, and it's a little bit more on the humid side. In Phoenix, Arizona, where the high temperature today, 112 degrees. And look at these clouds. These are monsoonal clouds, and this is why the relative humidity has been on the increase in throughout the desert and all the way into the Sonora Desert. San Francisco, a high temperature of 65. So if you want some relief from Arizona, head on to the Bay Area. A couple of degrees below average for this time of the year, but notice the clouds. It's a combination of the marine layer that brought that temperature down, and now we have a bank of those monsoonal clouds that are lifting up in a northerly fashion into California. Los Angeles, no record there, but 96 degrees. People flocking to Santa Monica Beach, a good 11 miles from downtown Los Angeles. Then we head to Seattle, again, and not a record, but unseasonably warm to hot. 89 degrees with the abundance of sunshine. Other notable numbers at the state capitol in California, 101, bested by Redding at 107, Palm Springs 114, and there you had 105 in Tucson. So these temperatures are hot. It's summertime, and we've got a whole handful of warnings and advisories posted across Southern California for the heat, and the fire danger will exist all the way through the weekend into Southern California. This is a red flag warning in effect for Ventura County and Los Angeles, all the way over the Grapevine leading into the Central Valley of California. Meanwhile, as you take a look at this, see that monsoonal moisture over Arizona, that's trying to lift into the California area. And look at that bubble. That bubble is the heat dome, and it's shrinking in size now. So we will see some relief, but not until about midweek. So the weekend forecast does call for seasonal temperatures in the Bay Area, thunderstorms in the Mile High City, still warm in the Pacific Northwest, and temperatures begin to ease in Arizona by Monday.
All right, Roberta, thank you. From the Pacific Northwest to the Southwest, people are doing what they can tonight to cope with a mix of extreme weather conditions. In Washington, families are keeping splash pads and parks busy as they look for places to stay cool. In Southern California, cameras captured images of surfers and sunbathers crowding the LA County beaches today. And in Arizona, a much different situation. People are cleaning up tonight after monsoon storms crossed the Phoenix area overnight. Fox 10's Danielle Miller shows us some of the damage there.
Well, good evening, everyone. Last night's storm definitely packing a punch, especially right here in Mesa. We're here at a mobile home park where there is a lot of damage that happened here overnight. This is near Main and Greenfield, and you guys can see right here behind me, this is parts of siding and carports. Everything just ripped and mangled. You can see one of those carports going into a window, completely shattering it. And this is what it looks like throughout the entire mobile home park. There's also a lot of debris all over the streets with palm trees and bushes, everything like that. So people are really having a hard time cleaning up this morning from all of the damage left behind. We did speak with a few residents out here. They said the storm was very heavy last night and pretty scary at some points. Take a listen.
Just all of a sudden, you know, I mean, it was pouring down raining, and it had to have been a microburst, really did. It was just storms, you know, I mean, just raining and rain. And it rained till early this morning, you know, not a heavy rain like it was, but it sounded like we were in a bomb hit here.
And Linda, who you just heard from there, says that so many people have been pitching in. So very grateful out here that a lot of people are helping everybody clean up and get back to normal after last night's storm. We'll send it back to you guys.
The Oregon State Fair kicked off today in Salem, and it was a scorcher. Forecasters say the temperatures were up into the upper 90s. Fair officials say they are prepared with plenty of water refill stations and misting stations set up all throughout the grounds. Visitors were also ready for the heat. We talked with one woman, Jackie Johnson, who says she and her family came prepared with hats and plenty of sunscreen.
I got fans, cooler with ice in it, umbrella, and then hitting all the water stations.
Extreme heat is also expected throughout this weekend in Salem. Fair officials say they have first aid stations that are set up, and they're encouraging visitors to stay hydrated and to seek shade if they're not feeling well. Coming up tonight, here on West Coast Wrap, a gruesome discovery behind a Colorado funeral home's hidden door. 20 bodies found. Tonight, why this case is prompting calls for a local county coroner to resign. Also coming up tonight, cameras capture police officers going after a retail theft suspect in the middle of a busy freeway. See how they took him into custody. We have an update tonight on a deadly police shooting case in Utah. The suspect, 30-year-old Ryan Bate, appeared virtually before a judge for the first time today. He's accused of killing 2 Tremonton police officers back on Sunday. Bate cried all throughout today's appearance. He's facing 2 counts of aggravated murder and potentially the death penalty. Police say Bate opened fire on those officers as they responded to his home for a domestic violence call. A preliminary hearing has been set in this case for October 30th. The parents of a missing 7-month-old baby in Southern California have now been arrested on suspicion of murder. The couple reported the baby missing last week, claiming he was kidnapped from a parking lot. But as Fox 11's Nick Garcia explains, detectives now believe that never happened.
Rebecca and Jake Haro in handcuffs as the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department says detectives believe 7-month-old Emmanuel Haro is dead. It's been just over a week since he was reported missing. His parents said he was kidnapped from the parking lot of this Big 5 in Yucaipa. Detectives have determined that did not happen.
Please don't harm my son. Just feed him, please. Please protect him and bring him forward. I'm begging you.
That was Emmanuel's mom, Rebecca, 1 week ago on August 15th. Now detectives are accusing her and her husband, Jake, of doing just that, hurting their own son. Friday morning, both were arrested at their Cabazon home. The arrests, a relief for those in the community who've been following the updates closely and, like detectives, were suspicious about Haro's story.
I haven't been able to sleep, honestly, for the past week because it's here in our community, and the answer that I want to know is that if he's okay.
Goosebumps. All up and down my arms, my legs, goosebumps, because I had a feeling. Yeah, I knew.
The Haros stopped cooperating with the investigation last weekend. Their lawyer told Fox 11 Tuesday that wasn't true, but would not speak with us on camera today.
You know, now we just need to know where he's at. Just where is he at? It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking that a 7-month-old is missing.
The San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department confirming they are still searching for Emmanuel's body.
And that was Fox 11's Nick Garcia reporting tonight. Court records show that Jake Haro pleaded guilty to child cruelty charges in Riverside County in a separate case in 2018. He's currently on probation after he was convicted of those charges and jailed in 2023. Now to Colorado, where the governor called on the Pueblo County coroner to resign after the discovery of apparently mishandled remains at the funeral home that he operates. Officials say 20 bodies were found behind a hidden door at the Davis mortuary, owned by the county coroner, Brian Cotter. He reportedly told inspectors that some of the bodies had been awaiting cremation for 15 years. New laws that were passed last year now require routine inspections of funeral homes following the discovery of dozens of bodies at another mortuary.
Prior to this new bill, it was a largely unregulated field, and I think that we've all learned a lot over the past few years that, unfortunately, in any line of business, you know, whether it's banking, whether it's retail, whether it's insurance, there's always going to be people that seek to take advantage of other people, and that is no different in the mortuary business.
Colorado previously had some of the weakest oversight of funeral homes in the U.S. Alaska's medical board has proposed changes that could lead to doctors facing disciplinary action for providing gender-affirming care to children. The board unanimously approved draft regulations outlining unprofessional conduct to now include providing care to treat gender dysphoria or facilitate gender transition. The director of an LGBTQ advocacy group said nearly 700 Alaska medical professionals all signed a letter opposing those changes. The draft language will now be sent to the Attorney General's office for review before the board makes a final decision. Today, a federal judge in Hawaii heard arguments in a lawsuit challenging FDA restrictions on the abortion medication mifepristone. An ACLU attorney asked the judge to rule the FDA violated the law by restricting mifepristone. The original lead plaintiff in this case was a doctor on the island of Kauai who objected to patients having to pick up the medication in person. That key barrier, though, was eventually removed, and mifepristone can now be sent through the mail. U.S. Justice Department attorneys argue the FDA has already reduced the burden by removing the in-person dispensing requirement. The judge in this case didn't say when she would issue a ruling. Well, tonight we have a better idea of how costs are ballooning to build the A's a new ballpark in Las Vegas. According to the Nevada Independent, the team confirmed last night that construction of a ballpark on the Las Vegas Strip will exceed $2 billion. That's up from an initial estimate of $1.5 billion. A's president Mark Baden insists that construction is on schedule. He says people will notice crews begin vertical work on the building process in the next month. The A's 33,000 capacity stadium is being built on the old Tropicana Hotel site, and it's expected to open up in 2028. Wall Street wrapped up this week's trading session with a rally after Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell signaled that an interest rate cut could soon be coming as soon as next month. The Dow soared today on that news. It was up 846 points, closing at a record high of 45,631. The Nasdaq jumped by 396 points, and the S&P 500 added 96 points. Well, you probably noticed that beef prices are soaring this year. Cattle ranchers here in the West say they're hurting right along with customers. Fox's Amalia Roy spoke with ranchers in Arizona about what exactly is driving those price increases.
Part of this is inflation making it more expensive to run a ranch, but there's also a major supply issue. Years of drought have driven ranchers across the country to reduce their herds, this while the demand for beef keeps going up.
For nearly 40 years, Sarah Burris's family has bred the calves that eventually become the beef we see in the grocery store.
Cows that we have in here are cattle that we took off of our land because of the lack of grass. We started breeding these particular cattle to our red Wagyu bull so that we're improving our genetics and raising higher quality beef.
Their farm, Easy Ranch, is about an hour from Phoenix. They rely heavily on rainwater to take care of about 150 cattle and 14 square miles of land. But with the dry monsoon season, some tanks are empty.
A good monsoon year, this tank here would have water. It would also be up to the edge of the rim there, and we might have water all the way back here.
Water scarcity is an issue for ranchers across the country. Data from the USDA shows cow herds have been shrinking since 2019, and drought plays a large part in that.
We had 3 years of consecutive droughts that really damaged a lot of pasture conditions, especially in areas of the country where the highest concentrations of cattle exist. You know, those southern plains, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, all the way up, you know, to the Dakotas and the upper Midwest.
Burris hasn't had to sell off any cattle yet, but if Arizona doesn't get more rain, she says they might have to cut their herd in half.
It wears an emotional toll on you. Our family has been here for almost 40 years, so we've seen cycles. And this is a tough cycle. Emotionally, physically, it's a tough time for ranchers.
Analysts say that even with these high prices, the demand for beef is going up, especially for those higher quality cuts. This is something Burris says she and other ranchers are grateful for. Now, there are some ranchers that are starting to rebuild those herds, but we won't see the results of that for years. In Phoenix, Amalia Roy, Fox News.
Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, on the run, but not for long. Tonight, see the dramatic takedown of a man suspected of stealing from a beauty supply store. Plus, a school district in Oregon puts its own spin on food assistance programs. See what's helping ensure that students are ready to learn.
There's beans. Yeah. And then olives.
And what was your favorite?
The pizza and the chocolate milk.
Newly released video shows police officers catching up with a retail theft suspect in Southern California. It happened right in the middle of a busy freeway. First, that man was caught on surveillance camera holding several bottles of cologne and perfume at an Ulta beauty store in Corona, southeast of L.A. Investigators say he left the store with those items and then drove away in a car. And after a short pursuit, police body camera footage shows those officers taking him into custody right there on the shoulder of a freeway. Investigators say he hit two vehicles during that pursuit. There's no word tonight on exactly what charges the man is facing. Well, as children head back to school, some families in Oregon are turning to their school district to help put food on the table. Fox 12's Julia Lopez shows us how the district's food pantry works.
The McMinnville School District has several wraparound services to make sure that its students have food, clothes, school supplies, and more year-round. Right now, we're taking a look at how kids are fueling up before school starts. The Sioux Belle Food Pantry has been able to serve more than 600 families, 10% of its student population, in the McMinnville community since 2022, when the Fox 12 Surprise Squad helped get the effort off the ground.
And we're continuing to see an uptick in the families that are accessing our summer feeding programs at our local parks. We've had record-breaking numbers of families accessing that throughout the summer as they're getting ready to come back.
Throughout the summer, the McMinnville School District distributes meals at parks and other public spaces, but any family in the district can visit the Family Resource Center to take home food donations plus supplies, and it's a community effort.
When I first started Scouts, I wanted to do something that would actually make an impact in our community, and this could actually help for a couple of generations.
It's local Scouts like Carter that help unload the food each week. Now, Carter's building more shelves for the pantry as his Eagle Scout project.
I saw that the food barely fit, so I was like, that would be a good project.
Food insecurity is often heightened during the summer when kids don't have the option of a school lunch.
In the middle, there's beans. Yeah. And then olives.
And what was your favorite?
The pizza and the chocolate milk.
In McMinnville, not only is the pantry open year-round, but Grand Haven Elementary School turns into a camp for incoming kindergartners in the summer. They get free meals.
I played with my friend on the monkey bars.
And a taste of what to expect in kindergarten, so they start the school year confident and fed.
It just makes their day a little bit easier, makes their weeks and their weekends a little bit easier when we can provide that support. And it builds that partnership and that trust between the schools and our families at home so that they know we're here for them in all capacities.
Reporting from McMinnville, Julia Lopez, Fox 12 Oregon.
And finally tonight in Montana, volunteers joined forces with local hair salons to help get students ready for the new school year. The salon stylists offered free haircuts to students at Franklin Elementary Teach Academy in Missoula. They also distributed backpacks full of school supplies, clothing from a local thrift store, as well as school books. This program was part of a new reading initiative aimed at enhancing literacy skills. All right, they are looking ready for school, and they have all the tools they will need. That does it for West Coast Wrap. We appreciate you watching tonight. Remember, stay up to date on all the stories we're covering at our website, westcoastwrap.com. Have a great night.